Sooner fans, Longhorn Nation, welcome to episode 196 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Texas, and the University of Oklahoma. I'm here with my man, Kevin Miller. I am John Whitson. Kevin, we are bringing this episode to the people a day early. It was supposed to be a light week, a bye week for Texas, a bye week for Oklahoma. It was going to allow us to recharge our batteries as much as the team. However, at 3:35 p.m. Central Daylight Time, I received the text message that says, Heisman frontrunner, best quarterback in the country, John Mateer, is undergoing surgery in Los Angeles, California, for a broken thumb suffered in the first quarter of his game against Auburn on Saturday, possibly explaining his poor performance in the first half, but defying logic with his fantastic performance to close the game, going 16 for 17, 11 straight completions to end the game, including a game-winning drive, plus a game-winning rushing touchdown. I don't know what they shot that kid's hand up with, but my God, get me some of that. Kevin, the thought is he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. 4 weeks puts us right on the edge of South Carolina. I've heard very, very, very optimistic guesses that Texas is in play. I personally put that at less than 10%. Initial reaction to the John Mateer news.
Yeah, man, devastating stuff. Even as a Texas fan who does not like OU, doesn't like a lot of, the fans, and I hate to see players get injured. And, I love college football. So to see one of the best players in college football be injured with how well he's been playing, for the hope that he's brought to the Oklahoma fan base, it sucks, man. It really sucks. And we've been talking about the matchup. Everything, obviously, this podcast is based around the Red River Shootout. That's what it's based on. So it's building up. The momentum is just growing and growing and growing towards that game. Now it's deflating to think that he may not be playing in that game. Obviously, it's still going to be an exciting game no matter what. But to hear that either he won't play or he won't be at full strength is disappointing.
I appreciate you saying that. And seriously, and I hope you know, with all the crap I give Arch Manning and all of your quarterbacks, I want to beat QB1 when we go play a team. I want to beat QB1. There's something a little hollow about victories when you don't go beat the best team. And honestly, when it comes to Oklahoma, just in a weird, perverse way of looking at things, Oklahoma hasn't typically fared very well against backup quarterbacks. So I don't necessarily, just envy going to play backup quarterbacks. Hell, we lost to Kansas 2 years ago with a backup quarterback. So it's no bueno. I want to see us against the best. As it relates to Oklahoma, though, specifically, the right time of the season, if it's going to happen, we've got a bye week followed up by Kent State. I think we could probably roll out our third-string quarterback against Kent State and still win that game handily.
Absolutely.
So that is a non-issue. That takes us into Texas, which is, as of today, a couple days shy of 3 weeks. There's talk on the internet about Jared Goff had thumb surgery and was back in 13 days and all that. We don't know the extent. We're not doctors. Anything we say at this point is pure speculation, hopeful thinking, wishful thinking. Let's talk about the Red River rivalry game, because really that's all that matters on Oklahoma's schedule at this point anyway. So I do not think we're being premature talking about the OU Texas game as it relates to Oklahoma. I'm sure you guys want to you all need to focus on Florida first, First ever
For
trip to
sure.
the swamp. But as it relates to Oklahoma, how much do you think, I've got thoughts, but I want to hear you. How much do you think this impacts the chances of Oklahoma winning this football game? If indeed Michael Hawkins is the starting quarterback.
Oh, tremendously. Because what John Mateer can do is he can patch over the other flaws that our roster has. If the offensive line isn't playing great, it's okay. We've got John Mateer. We can't really hand the ball off to our running backs and they be effective. That's okay because we have John Mateer. We may not have elite talent at wide receiver. That's okay because we have John Mateer. Without him, all the other issues become much more noticeable, right? You start noticing, oh, we really can't pass protect that well, or oh, our run blocking isn't good at all. Everything that he patches over just becomes a little bit more exposed. And I like Hawkins. I thought he did some good things last year. And he does have some experience, right? Starting 4 games, but he's not John Mateer, who just brings this presence about him, just from a personality standpoint, a leadership standpoint. Obviously, he can make big time throws. He can run it. He's tough as nails. So, and he just has that kind of it factor that you really look for in quarterbacks. You just lose all that. That being said, though, your defense is good enough to keep you in every game. Even last year, where you really had no hope of scoring points, the game was still pretty close for a large portion of it just because of the defense. And your defense is better this year than it was last year.
Well, I think there's a lot of factors that are better than last year. I think there's a lot of factors that are better. I was trying to look for the line while you were talking. I couldn't find an updated line. We need to find that. Michael Hawkins was a pretty solid 4-star recruit at quarterback. Is that right?
Yes.
Would you agree that he's at a minimum an elite athlete in terms of speed?
Yes.
Okay. Would you also agree that he did, in a very raw form, very raw, go on his first ever start on a road trip to Auburn and win?
Yes.
Okay. Would you also agree that he did so under conditions that no Oklahoma quarterback has seen in 25 to 30 years, in as much as that was the most incompetent coaching staff in the history of coaching staffs, as well as an offensive line that was battered and bruised, along with your top 5 receivers not in the game? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So for me, I think to myself, okay, we're going from the true freshman to the redshirt freshman year. That's always a big jump anyway. Now we're also going at it under the tutelage of Ben Arbuckle in a system run by Ben Arbuckle, which, while the running game hasn't been great, we have an identity. And our identity is intermediate short passes, take advantage of them either loading the box or dropping back not to get beat. When we do that, a la the second half against Auburn, we look really, really, really good doing that. And we've got the horses to do that. Keontez Lewis, Satania, Deion Burks, Jaron Cannick. Last year going into Texas, Michael Hawkins had none of that. Zero. We didn't have a running game. We didn't have receivers. We didn't have an offensive line. We had a game plan that was diddly do and a coaching staff that didn't know their butt from a hole in the ground. And I don't think those are two strong terms. I think that's exactly what describes Michael Hawkins walking into the Cotton Bowl last year.
Yeah.
All that's changed. All that has changed. He will now have 3 weeks to prepare as the starter. He will now have Ben Arbuckle with whom to prepare under. He should have an offensive line. Fasusi makes me nervous, man. That guy needs to get right. I do not want to see him against Kent State. I want him full strength against Texas. He makes me a little nervous. The offensive line, though, should look a little bit better. You got to admit the weapons around him look a whole heck of a lot better. My concern is the running game, but that was going to be my concern, whether Mateer was playing or not, right? Because the running game just hasn't looked very good. I think it hurts Oklahoma's chances to beat Texas, but not by as much as one would think.
I don't know, man. I feel like your identity right now is John Mateer.
Okay.
This is me giving the kid that much credit.
No.
How good he's been from just how, like I said, he just patches over all those concerns that you talked about. He just patches over the offensive line, not maybe being the run blocking unit you would hope, right? They actually held up pretty good in pass pro last week against Auburn. But everything.
I'm saying,
go ahead.
If Michael Hawkins was not a dual threat, he's a dual threat quarterback.
100%.
An old school. When we go back to the early 2000s and when dual threat was an anomaly and not the usual, he is a dual threat quarterback. Maybe even run first, throw second. At least he definitely was last year. What I'm getting at, though, is, okay, not to get too much in the weeds, but we talked about this on the recap episode of the Auburn game. When the offense got into a rhythm, it was short, intermediate passes, crossing passes, get the guys in space, let them pick up 7 or 8 yards, go do it again. I am saying Michael Hawkins has the physical talent to operate that same game plan.
Yeah.
And the legs to get out of trouble.
Yes.
Would I rather have John Mateer? Yes, I'm not. Don't misunderstand me. I would rather have John Mateer. That kid, dude, how the hell did he play in the second half with the numbers that he had, the game-winning drive that he had with a broken thumb? Like, what did they shoot him up with, right? Seriously. But I'm saying Michael Hawkins is not. I'm saying there's some skills there that a person like a coach like Ben Arbuckle can exploit versus a regime like last year that had no idea what to do with Michael Hawkins. No idea, no clue, no nothing. We can't even compare what we saw last year. And I think that's what Texas fan and even Oklahoma fan is going to go back to. They're going to be 35-3. Here we go again, 35-3. Well, first of all, Texas's offense, and I think you'll be the first to admit, is not firing on all cylinders.
No, not at this point. No.
Number two, Hawkins is a year older, a year bigger, a year stronger, a year more refined, time to prepare with a defense that is really, really, really good. I'm just saying the drop-off in my mind, I promise. Now, this is initial reaction. This is 4 hours after learning the news. The emotional swing that I'm going to go through over the next 3 weeks, right? Anything. Ask me tomorrow. It could be a very different answer. 4 hours into this, I'm saying the drop-off from Mateer to Hawkins is not as dramatic as I think Texas fan and Oklahoma fan are going to be thinking that it is going into the Texas game. That is my opinion.
Gotcha. I hear you. I acknowledge your opinion. I disagree. And this has nothing to do with Hawkins. This is what I think of Mateer, and not even just the football stuff. It's just the presence, the belief that he brings to your entire program. I just don't think that can be replicated from Michael Hawkins. And I like Michael Hawkins. I genuinely do. I just don't think he can replicate that kind of belief that John Mateer does. And I know Oklahoma has great. You'll be in the game because your defense is so good. But you have to remember, I think Texas is just as good as they were defensively last year, if not better.
I think Texas is very good defensively. But I think they were going to be good against Mateer, as good as they were going to be against Hawkins. I think they were going to show Mateer things that he has not seen from Michigan or Auburn.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think
we'll have a better game plan than Auburn, and Auburn did a pretty good job. But I think Texas will have a better game plan than either Michigan or Auburn did.
You can
with better
players
to run it.
Look, you have 3 weeks to disagree with me. I mean, we're going to go back and forth. And you know me, I'm mercurial, right? We do this on Sunday or Wednesday, whenever we decide to record again next. We might not go Sunday, just highlight, just since OU and Texas aren't playing, we might take a bye week. We'll see. If anything else happens, we'll be on. But I am just of the opinion that the entire package, right? Mateer is not the only thing that's changed from last year. He is incredibly important. He is incredibly pivotal. He is literally leading the Heisman race in most polls or whatever. Offensive line, receivers, coaching. Just there's so much that has gone into the success. It's not simply, you're telling me that Mateer could have just been dropped into the offense last year and it would look like it does right now?
Oh, goodness, no. It would look a lot better, though.
It wouldn't hurt, but he would still had nobody to throw to.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And more than anything, I feel horrible for him, for Mateer, right? These guys put in so much work just to be able to, to prepare for the season. So for him to be playing the way he's been playing and to go down with an injury like this really, really sucks for him. So hopefully he can get back as soon as possible and we can get back to it.
Oklahoma can afford a loss against Texas. Texas can afford a loss against Ohio State. Texas can afford a loss against Georgia. Texas can afford a loss against Oklahoma. Maybe not all three, but you can afford a loss. Of the two you have coming up, Georgia and Oklahoma, either one you can afford to lose. Oklahoma can afford to lose. There's just no margin of error, though.
Correct. And that's why it was so important, though, that you beat Michigan and you beat Auburn.
Right.
We talked about this long before the season started. You have to win those games just because if you lose either one of those games, your margin for error for the rest of the season is gone. It's gone. So at least now, with you being off to an undefeated start, you do have some margin for error. And with your schedule, 2, maybe even 3 losses, you can still get into the playoff. Now, remember, there were 93 teams last year that didn't get in. 2 of them in the SEC. But there's
none of them had the OU logo, and none of them had John Mateer at quarterback.
True.
Here's my problem, though, right? When we went back to all the way back to our picks in August. When I'm picking OU Texas, I don't know about you. I mean, we've done this enough, I should know. But when I pick OU Texas, and I am not joking about this at all, every year I feel like it's 50-50. I just do.
Yeah, there's something to that for sure. We've seen bad teams. Yes. We've seen teams that have no business winning that game win it.
I've seen too many times you guys beat us, and it's like, what?
Wow.
I mean, we always go back to Baker Mayfield 2015. It's like, what? And
2013 too, with Case McCoy and a bunch. I mean, the game wasn't even close.
100%. It doesn't even make sense. And so when I pick that game, however, the inverse of that is I also think it means it's as good a chance to win a game on the remaining schedule as there is, because it's Texas and it's a unique environment and anything goes and anything can happen and the swings of momentum. It's not the same as going to Alabama on the road where, it's Alabama has a built-in advantage against us on the road, right? Like you kind of know that you're going into that stadium already down a touchdown. You're going into Tennessee already down 3 points, 4 points, just because it's Neyland Stadium. It's, whatever. That's not the case. You are going every time you go into OU Texas, maybe not, the last year and then 2 years ago with whatever was happening at quarterback. But any other time, it's like, you know what? I don't care what's happening on the other side. We're on even footing. This could go either way.
You can go either way. Yes, correct.
Which
the environment,
makes
it's raucous.
Which makes the need to win it all that more important, right? Because every other game isn't going to be as evenly matched in terms of emotion and where it's at. So I say all that to say this is a kick in the footballs. There's no denying that. I'm feeling right now that Hawkins gives us a fair chance to win the game.
I will say this: it is not a horrible backup situation at all. It's not a horrible situation there.
Do you feel
you can do a lot worse than having Michael Hawkins Jr. as your number 2 quarterback?
Do you like Michael Hawkins better than either of your backups? And I'm not trying to get you to say something stupid. I promise.
No. I hear what you're saying.
I
kind of like Matt Caldwell. He's been a starting quarterback at, in the Sun Belt at Troy. So I like him. He's actually pretty good. But I like Hawkins a lot.
Yeah.
If he was our backup, I would not be upset about that at all.
I think the thing I like about Hawkins is simply the dual threat. You see like what Chambliss is doing at Ole Miss. And if you got a dude that can run and throw, especially as fast as Hawkins is, I mean, it just creates a lot of strain from a game plan perspective and then just an actual in-game situation.
Correct.
Where it's like, okay, you're almost taking one of your coverage guys. We talked about this with OU and Jackson Arnold, and we saw it, right? We're like, okay, we're going to spy Arnold. We're not going to let Arnold beat us with his legs. Well, that meant Cortland Gilroy is out there on an island. Yeah. Right? Now, I don't know that Oklahoma has a Cam Coleman, and I don't think we do. But it's still the same kind of thing. Even a really good corner for Texas is going to be at a disadvantage going one-on-one if that's how Texas decides to defend it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
We'll see.
Stay tuned, man. Let's see.
We might come back to that at the end of the episode. Other news in the state of Oklahoma, we talked about it. It was the inevitable Mike Gundy out. It's one of those deals that, for me, now that it's happened, it feels weird. Like you knew it was going to happen, and it should happen. Nobody's blaming OSU. But it's kind of bittersweet, right? I mean, he's a legend.
Yeah, 21 years. He's by far the best coach that they've ever had, the most successful coach that they've ever had. So, yeah, I mean, like we said on our Sunday episode, it was time, and it was completely inevitable, but it's still weird. And, you kind of feel for the whole situation there. It's not a good situation for anybody. What do you think? What's your thoughts on, just his legacy overall?
I think in a lot of ways, his antics and his personality will overshadow what a good football coach he was.
Yeah, because he's a great coach.
He did not have a great record against OU.
Most don't.
And so that'll be the first thing OU fan points to is like, oh, yeah, he was good, but he never beat us or, beat us 3 times or whatever. That's fine. Oklahoma State was not very good. I think Les Miles did a really good job of elevating their roster composition when he was there. I think whatever you want to say about Les Miles, the dude could always recruit. And I think he made the trenches a lot stronger at Oklahoma State, which allowed them to then compete, on a better level. But clearly he came in. You look at his recruiting with the dudes he had. We went over it. We were joking about it in the last one that those guys aren't walking through the door, but Des Bryant and Mason Rudolph and all those quarterbacks
Justin
and all
Blackman,
the receivers.
Emmanuel Ogba.
Ollie Gordon.
Justin Gilbert.
I mean,
Justice Hill.
That's the guy I was thinking. There's a ton of them that come through there. I mean, look at Kendall Daniels. Like, whatever you want to say, the dude's a ball player. Like,
he was a big-time recruit, too. It's not like it was a 2-star that he developed. It's a high 4-star guy.
Yeah. And so, but I just think I'm a man, I'm 40. It's going to detract from that.
Correct.
think
It's crazy that 18 years ago that happened.
18 years ago, but it feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And how he handled that whole quarterback situation following that, remind me of the quarterback's name.
Bobby Reed.
It just was off-putting to everybody.
Zach Robinson. Yeah.
It was off-putting to Bobby Reed. It was off-putting to the team, I think. And I don't think it was handled very well. So I think all those kind of ancillary things that create who Mike Gundy is going to detract from the fact that Oklahoma State is not an easy place to win football games. He beat Texas a lot. I don't know if he has a winning record against Texas, but he beat you 7 or 8 times.
Especially once we got to the end of the MAC drought, once 2010 and Texas football fell apart, I don't know if anybody benefited more than Mike Gundy to Texas' horrible 2010s.
Yeah, and he won. So all that to be said, really good coach. Let me ask you this. Do you think Oklahoma State asked him to stay through the year and he turned him down? Or
That's a really good question. They had a press conference that I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but that's a really good question because that was my only thing. Did he want to stay? Did they want to give him a chance to stay for the rest of the year? They just want him to leave now. That's a great question.
Or is he such a weirdo that he's like, no, I'm out. Y'all don't want me. I don't want to be here.
That's a really good question. Yeah, because
it's kind of
it is weird.
It's like if Oklahoma State didn't ask him, I think that's petty on Oklahoma State. If Oklahoma State asked him and he turned it down, I think it's petty on Mike Gundy because he has embodied Oklahoma State football for the last 25 years. I think he deserved something. Yeah. But then again, dude, you go winless in the Big 12 and then you turn around and get beat 69 to whatever and you lose to Tulsa at home in a game that wasn't even close, like you were never in it. I guess sometimes it's just time to say goodbye.
Yeah, correct.
I guess they liked the offensive coordinator at Atlanta, Zach Robinson.
Well, I mean, he's a quarterback that we were just talking about with Bobby Reed. That situation, Bobby Reed got benched for Zach Robinson.
Yeah.
So I was looking on ESPN. Where'd you hear that at about Zach Robinson?
KREF, probably KREF Sports.
Okay, well then that's a good source. ESPN had threw out just some potential names, of people they could contact. I don't think they had any kind of sourcing or anything. It's just people who made sense. They had G.J. Kinney, current coach at Texas State, done a great job there. Former Texas quarterback, transferred to Tulsa. Now the head coach at Texas State, he's done a good job. They also mentioned Jeff Traylor. We all remember him. Legendary Texas high school coach, now the head coach at UTSA. And they also mentioned Ben Arbuckle. I don't know what you thought about that.
I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable that they would mention him. I got a couple of thoughts. Number one, I think our offense has been really good, but I don't know that it's like so good that he should be getting head coaching job offers after 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not running the ball worth a flip. It's not like we're putting up 50 points a game. Yeah. We beat Auburn 24-17, and we beat Michigan 24-7, 24-10, something like that.
24-14. A 2-score game for sure. Yeah.
But you see what I'm getting at? Like this isn't. Yeah. It's not even necessarily Lincoln Riley numbers at this point. It's the improvement drastic. Clearly, love Ben Arbuckle. But in terms of performance on the field, if I'm an athletic director or whoever does hiring now, GM or whatever,
correct.
It's like, okay, the guy's 30 with no head coaching experience, and he's just getting his feet wet at Oklahoma. I think before I unload the truck on him, I'm probably saying,
let's pump the brakes. Yeah,
that's number one. Number two, if Arbuckle, as desirable as everybody thinks he is, either this year or let's even say next year, if you're Arbuckle and let's say he really turns around Oklahoma, we continue to show improvement, and the next year maybe we have a really good run with this new schedule that we'll talk about, all this kind of stuff, and he can literally, quote unquote, pick his job. If I'm in that position at his age, I don't think I'm leaving the SEC or the Big Ten. I don't think you take any other job because I think you are behind the eight ball any other conference.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna leave, it's not for that job. I think there's jobs you can get where you have access to maybe more talent than Oklahoma State, and you don't have to compete against OU for that type of talent. So yeah, um, I think he needs a little bit more seasoning too before he's ready to go as a head coach.
Like
Because what Lincoln Riley did, I mean, that was like revolutionary stuff. What we were seeing from him, what he did at OU in 2015.
Yes.
What he did with Baker Mayfield and just completely transforming the program. And it's kind of one of those things. Unfortunately, I don't know if he'll get the credit too because Mateer is so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just kind of naturally gravitate more towards a player than a coach. But yeah, we'll see. And we just throwing some names out there. But Zach Robinson, that's very interesting. I'm curious if he would want to do that. And I don't know his history as a coach. I know he's been in the NFL for a while, but can he recruit? Basically, if they were to bring him in.
I mean, I would think if I'm Ben Arbuckle and I'm going to have John Mateer for 2 years, conceivably, we'll see. And I think it's probably 60-40 he stays at this point, just depending on, whatever.
Yeah, how the season ends up.
Especially with this hand injury, blah, blah, blah. But let's say he stays for 2 years. I think Mateer is looking at Kentucky. He's looking at Arkansas. He's, I think in maybe not 2 years because Napier probably doesn't make it another year. So Florida might be off that. But those two are like, that's SEC money, SEC recruiting, SEC fan bases, SEC NIL cachets. You go up into the Big Ten. You look at what Illinois and Indiana are doing, and it's because they've got NBC and Fox money. It's a different playing field than anything Oklahoma State's going to be able to do at this point, which is what Gundy railed against. The difference being is if you get a good squad at Oklahoma State and you can win the Big 12, you're in the playoff.
Absolutely.
But if you're Arbuckle, is that what? I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Hopefully they just hire Zach Robinson and keep
real
Arbuckle's
quick.
name
You were asking about Mike Gundy's record against Texas, and obviously when he first got there, I mean, we're talking about peak Texas when he first got there,
right?
And but Texas, when their program collapsed in 2010, since that moment, 9 wins for Mike Gundy against Texas between 2010 and 2013. So basically 9-4 during that stretch.
Between 2010 and 2023.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, he was a good coach. And I just think I think it's going to get marred by his weirdness. I think he's a weirdo.
Yeah.
Where do you think he ends up? Do you think we talked about this on Sunday, but do you think he gets another Division I job? Or do you think he just goes off and does something his own thing?
I think he can, because I think other ADs would say, okay, well, this guy just needed a reset. He's been at the same place for 20, and it never ends well, right? Either you leave early or they kick you out at some point. Everybody, Switzer got kicked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Switzer got forced out. This is how it goes. Mac Brown got forced out. Gundy gets fired, but he doesn't seem to like this era of college football. So I don't see if you're another AD, that's just a question he's going to have to answer, because if you're not on board with NIL and the transfer portal, you can't be a head coach.
Not at this level.
Yeah,
not at
correct.
This level. Not at the Power 4 level. You can't do it. No,
not at all. So that he's going to have to ask himself that. He doesn't need to. He can take a couple years off, try to reset, and figure out what he wants to do. He's made a ton of money, obviously.
Kevin, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Again, this is a plug for the Chicken Shack. Best chicken in Oklahoma, Route 66. They've got restaurants all over. But Kevin and I will be at the Chicken Shack in Arcadia, October 8th. recording sometime around 6:30. We want to have as big a crowd as possible. This is Christmas Eve of the Red River rivalry game. Okay. This is peak Boomer Bevo. If you just want to come yell and jeer at Kevin, that's worth it. Kevin's got thick skin. He can handle it. Be at the Chicken Shack. October 8th, 6:30. We want to see as many Boomer Bevo fans as we can. OU fans, Texas fans, what have you. Our title sponsor has been, always will be, Brown O'Haver, public insurance adjusters, working for the insured, not the insurance company. If you've had a loss to your home or your business, you want to call Brown O'Haver, 405-735-5510. Insurance claims suck. Brown O'Haver makes them suck a little less. Call Brown O'Haver, 405-735-5510. Kevin?
Listen, if you've had damage to your roof, it's Oklahoma, right? We get crazy wind, we get hailstorms. If you think you may have damage to your roof, give Pioneer Roofing a call. They'll come out, give you a free inspection, let you know if you have any roof damage, if it's something you need to file an insurance claim on. Give them a call, 405-549-2712.
Kevin, we've been begging for a 9-game schedule from the SEC, and our wish has been granted. With the new rivalry system that they've created, we have a 9-game conference schedule, 3 permanent rivals, 6 rotating opponents over the next 4 years. This has been pretty OU heavy. Let's start with Texas. Let's start with their permanent rivals, talk about that, and then we'll talk a little bit about what the 2026 slate looks like. Oklahoma, Oklahoma, obviously, A&M, and Arkansas.
Yeah, so no surprise there, right? Just kind of our 3 main historical rivals. Oklahoma, that was 100% going to be a part of it. Same with A&M. And again, anybody who would have guessed this would have guessed Arkansas for the 3rd team for Texas. So it makes perfect sense. Now, would I rather have had somebody else besides Arkansas? Probably. But it is what it is, and it'll be exciting. Maybe we can build that rivalry back with Arkansas. But playing A&M and playing Oklahoma every year has to happen, and I'm glad it did.
Who would you have rather had over Arkansas, and why?
I thought LSU would have been cool. Just them being so close.
You wanted LSU too? I wanted LSU too, but go ahead.
Yeah, and it always helps to be exposed to more Louisiana recruits. That's never a bad thing with the amount of talent that they have in that state. And yeah, it just seems like a fun place to be. They're a great team, usually year in and year out. Great atmosphere at their stadium. So, and I heard it was a great time in Austin when they came in 2019 with one of the greatest teams in the history of college football.
It was a great time for them, and y'all had a chance.
We did have a chance.
Y'all played them as close as anybody did all year.
We did, yeah. We just blitzed 7 on 3rd and 17.
Brilliant.
Got burned by Jefferson. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Shout out to Todd Orlando.
When we expand this a little bit, and we look at your schedule. So your home schedule next year will consist of Ole Miss, Florida, Arkansas, Mississippi State. Your road schedule: A&M, LSU, Missouri, Tennessee, and then obviously a neutral game against Oklahoma. On the home schedule, Ole Miss, Florida. Those are the 2 choices. Most excited about either one of these?
Well, Ole Miss would be fun since we played Florida last year and we're playing them this year. So having Ole Miss on the home schedule is really cool. We had a home and home with them back in 2012, 11, 12, towards the end of the Mac Brown era, and it's a really good time. So yeah, it'll be fun to host them, and the road schedule is great too. And in 2026, I mean, at LSU, at Missouri, and at Tennessee. I mean, come on, man.
It's awesome. Look, I do not like what the SEC did for Texas in the first 2 years of the conference. Okay?
Yes, I understand. By the way,
yeah, this schedule, the disparity in schedule between OU and Texas is so utterly laughable and absurd. But what it did do in a way, is punish is the wrong word, but I think it shortchanged your fans from a good home schedule.
Correct. And fans are disappointing about that. I talked to before the season started. I was like, man, our home schedule really sucks.
I
It
don't know
really,
that
really sucks this year.
I don't know that your home schedule is that much better. I mean,
Well,
Ole Miss is great, but to your point, you already played Florida 2 years ago, so that's not anything new at home, and you're going to play them again this year. I guess you will have Ohio State at home, in the non-con, so maybe that played into it a little bit, I guess. But I just don't know that you're still getting the full SEC
yeah, but I mean,
experience.
I'll take Florida and Ole Miss over what we have this year. Because this year, I mean, A&M and Arkansas, we have that. But
you have it again. Oh, I guess you don't have A&M again, but you have Arkansas, Mississippi State, which you've already seen before too. Does that make sense? It just seems like they did you. I don't know how else they could have done it, but I find it fascinating that you've avoided Alabama again.
I don't know. We
and no Georgia on the schedule.
Well, we played Georgia this year and last year.
No, you're right. No, you're right about that. I retract that.
And then we did. No, I mean, out of conference, we played Alabama. Just 2 years ago and the year before that.
Yeah,
we played them recently. The schedule is not easy, and again, our tougher games are on the road.
I think your road schedule is. I mean, Oklahoma knows going to LSU, going to Missouri, going to Tennessee, and then even A&M. That's no joke.
So they didn't do us any favors. They didn't screw us either. I think it's a great schedule.
I still would be a little butthurt about my home schedule though. That's all I'm saying is if I'm a Texas fan.
It's just better than this year's.
It is and then also you got Ohio State. I mean,
correct.
Throw that on there.
This year, San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and A&M. That's the home schedule.
It's awful.
Yes.
It's awful.
I mean, and look, Vanderbilt's a good football team. They're ranked. They've got Diego Pavia, but it just doesn't move the needle like LSU does.
No.
And then Arkansas, obviously they've got some decent players, but come on, man. A&M, I'm excited about that, but that's a historical rivalry. We're used to having that game every year, especially those of us who are our age.
Here's the thing for what makes all the difference in the world is the 9-game schedule. Because now Mississippi State, we'll see how they are next year, but I don't know that any of us are expecting them to contend for a conference title. But my God, you'd much rather have Mississippi State than any of the 4 teams you just rolled out.
Correct. Yes.
That was such. I'm glad the SEC got off their butt and got us a 9-game schedule.
Correct. Yes.
It was a joke, and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. If you go 10-2 with this schedule, you're in the playoff. If you go 9-3 with this schedule, you're probably in the playoff.
Yeah, you have a great chance. And like you said, we opened up next year against Texas State, and then Ohio State September 12th. Which I'm glad that game is week 2 this year. Unlike this year, where it was week 1.
Week 1 was harsh. That was harsh.
Correct.
All right, let's take a look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma has Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri. I know Missouri makes sense, and I get it, and old rivalry and this and that. I just don't like Missouri as like an institution or a fan base.
Yeah, y'all don't like each other. Sooner fan is really more annoyed. It seems with a Missouri fan.
Despite their huge win last year against a very talented Oklahoma team, I feel like it's beneath Oklahoma to have to play Missouri.
Yeah, is that they're trying to kind of just go into the old Big 8?
Yeah, you knew it was coming. Much like y'all having to play Arkansas. I feel like this is y'all's Arkansas. It's
sure.
Like, okay, all right, I guess.
At least they're somewhat good though.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you this: Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin for the next 4 years, I have no problems with. If that dude stays there, and I hope he does, I love every second of that because some crazy stuff's going to be said. You're going to get some Instagram pictures of his daughters. Maybe his daughter's going to date an OU player instead of the LSU linebacker she's dating. Right? You know that, right? She's dating
Yeah,
LSU
I did
linebacker.
hear about that. Like, oh man, she must really hate you.
There's so much to. I don't even. I don't think anything can be said that won't get me in trouble. So let's stop there. That being said, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. I'm excited about that. I too wish we would have had LSU. LSU. I think everybody wanted LSU. I
Yeah,
think people hate LSU and want to play at and against LSU.
correct. There's just so
And
many reasons.
maybe that's a compliment. I don't know. I guess what we're doing is we're saying LSU is the epitome of the SEC. That's who
Yes.
their environment, 100,000 Death Valley at night. The whole thing is just. The only disservice was I think Oklahoma was like on the SEC network. Were we on the SEC network last year against LSU because we were so bad?
Oh, was it? I don't remember that.
I feel like it was in broadcast in 480 or something. Whatever. It was terrible. Oklahoma. Before we move to Oklahoma's schedule, just real quick while we're talking about this rivalry piece, and then we'll move on. Speaking of wanting to have LSU, rivalry games we lose. Now we're still going to get these games 2 out of the 4 years, but rivalry games that we lose year to year include Tennessee, Florida, which you think back to like those Peyton Manning years, that was must-watch TV.
Big time stuff, man. So good.
We're losing Bama, LSU, which is ginormous. That's a huge loss.
That's a major loss. Major loss for college football.
While they haven't been as good lately, is Florida, LSU. And by me, I mean Florida. Just hadn't been as good lately. Those are the three. I honestly think the SEC probably did as good as they could because you're keeping Tennessee, Alabama. You're keeping Auburn, Alabama. You're keeping I think it's LSU, though, is the one that kind of got shortchanged because here's they have Arkansas, Ole Miss, and A&M.
Okay.
So they don't have Bama and they don't have Florida. And I think they're probably shortchanged on that a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, now it's traditionally an easier path. But for the fans' sake, you want to see your team play against the best.
Do you think everybody looks at Arkansas and is like, ugh, Arkansas?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I bet LSU feels exactly the same.
Yes.
I bet LSU feels exactly the same way y'all do about having to play Arkansas.
Correct.
Yeah.
But your schedule though, it looks good, man. What do you think? Got up on the screen here.
Ole Miss, Kentucky, South Carolina, and A&M. As a home schedule goes, I think that's what you want. 2 teams that should be really good, Ole Miss and A&M, and 2 teams that you should beat.
Yeah.
If you show up and do your job.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you get a schedule like that, you feel pretty good about it. Road games, Georgia. Hey, dude, it's about time. We're going to have to do it sometime. So it might as well be next year. Missouri, whatever. Florida, OU at the Swamp. I can't wait to see Texas in the Swamp.
Oh, me neither.
And so OU going to the Swamp. I mean, again, talk about quintessential SEC. And then Mississippi State. Okay. Y'all have had them on your schedule the last 2 years, another year.
Cowbells
and Jeff Levy and I mean Zach Selman. We love you, Zach, but I don't know. And then again, don't forget Oklahoma's going to Ann Arbor. Do you know what date OU will go to Ann Arbor?
I can find that out for you here in just a second.
While you're looking that up, my brother often mentioned on this show is a Louisiana Ragin' Cajun fan. Him and his buddies, he was in the band, whatever that means. But he's developed, obviously, some really good friendships out of college. They make a road trip every year. They try to pick the best game on UL's schedule to attend. So they play
some pretty good teams.
They've been to A&M. They've been to Texas. Now, last year they went a little bit off the beaten path and played, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember who they played. Maybe James Madison, but they had a great time. Like they said it was cool. It was great setting and all that. I think it was James Madison. He might have to put it in the comments, Jake, if you can remember who you saw. This year's big name team was Missouri. That was their Power 4 conference. As we've already talked about, Missouri, whatever, like, it's just not that exciting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get to Missouri. You got to like fly into St. Louis, and it's like a 2-hour drive, or you fly
It's
to
like
Kansas
right
City.
in the middle of the state.
Yeah. You can't fly to Columbia to watch Missouri play. Yeah. So they looked at their schedule and they go, okay, this doesn't look good. Let's go to Eastern Michigan.
Okay.
Because they're like, it's in Michigan, it's in September, the weather will be better. We haven't been up there before. This will be a cool game to go watch. His review on Eastern Michigan was a high school stadium on the visitor side. On the visitor side, one concession stand.
My goodness. Sounds like
Can you imagine?
No.
OU and Texas fan is so spoiled. I can't even imagine a school that only has one concession stand on the visitor side.
Do you know where that university even is?
No, where's that?
It's in a town. I'm pronouncing this right. Ypsilanti, Michigan. Ypsilanti.
I mean, it's outside of Detroit. They flew into Detroit.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to go into his whole story about their misadventures.
It's actually between Detroit and Ann Arbor.
Yeah. So
that's fine.
There were misadventures at a Tigers game, a baseball game that I will not go into, but I might tell you off the air. Great story. Okay. They did go visit Ann Arbor. Michigan was on the road, but they said Ann Arbor was sweet. He told me Oklahoma's going to, Ann Arbor. You got to go. He goes, that was cool. He's like, this Eastern Michigan game was awful. And then to top it off, they lost. So whatever. Anyway, there you go. I don't even know why I said that, because you were looking up when we play Michigan.
Yeah, September 12th.
Same day as Ohio State, Texas, Ohio State.
Yes. How about that?
Y'all will get the night game, and we'll probably get the big noon kickoff, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. Y'all get the big noon, and we'll get the Buckeyes at night. Texas, Florida, by the way, 2:30 kickoff, since Florida is 1-3.
Have they announced our kickoff yet? Red River.
2:30.
Okay, that's all right. We like 2:30.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, we like 2:30.
So people are going to come after me after this. Greatest rivalry in college football. The greatest scene of any college football game. The best experience, everything. If I check that forecast and it's over 95 degrees, there's a really good chance that somebody else is going in my seats. I'm just telling you right now.
I understand that.
Awful last year. So
now,
bad.
did you see?
Dude, be better.
Speaking of the Cotton Bowl, did you see there was a lot of renovations on the I don't know which side of the stadium is, but one of the sides, I'm assuming it's the main entrance to the Cotton Bowl. Apparently 14 new escalators, more concessions. They have redone the restrooms.
Hey, dude, just have water, Kevin. Let's start with water. I appreciate that long list.
I heard it was from hundreds of people that it was an absolute disaster in that stadium.
Disaster.
How do you run out of water before halftime?
It's not like they've never hosted the game before, dude.
Correct. We do this every year.
It's the second Saturday in October for like the last 100 years or something crazy like that. Like, stop it. And it's Dallas. You're in Texas. Even when it's cold, it's hot in Texas. Like, I grew up there. I know how Texas works. I'm just telling you, if it's supposed to be over 95 degrees, there could be a good chance that Jeffrey and Rachel are going to that game. I might not.
Don't get his hopes up.
I'm not gonna get his no. Dude, you know what I want?
Shout out to Jay Weezy.
I want it every year. Every year I want a 75-degree game. We had it for 2019, Jalen Hurts. Oh, it was so crisp and cool outside. It felt so good. and I was in the sun, and it felt good to be in the sun. It was great. I just wish,
Well, I'm sure it was
it's still
also
down.
great when our defense couldn't tackle CeeDee Lamb.
Best player in college football that week. Let's take a look at week 5 games. We got a great slate. A great slate,
This is an
Oklahoma.
elite week of games. This
Here's
is insane.
Much needed by Oklahoma fans. When you're watching it, take your mind off of John Mateer's thumb. Enjoy the college football. Texas fan, take your mind off of Arch's yips. Enjoy it. You're going to get back to it soon enough. Florida State at Virginia. Virginia's a 6.5 home dog.
Is that an interesting line to you? Just quickly.
I just don't think people trust Florida State yet.
Understandable.
It
caught my attention, though.
I just don't think they trust Florida State yet. And I see, if I was picking the game, I think I'd pick Florida State to cover because I don't know enough about Virginia, but I know that the coach at Florida State, Norvell, did not forget how to coach last year. I think he had a calamity of errors similar to Oklahoma, where it just all went to what.
It's a nightmare of a season.
But I think FSU has dudes, which we saw against Alabama, and I think they're probably pretty good. I think the line reflects a lack of trust.
Agreed.
TCU at Arizona State. This is a low-key top 25 game. ASU's a 2.5-point favorite at home. Georgia Tech.
Friday night game there, by the way.
That is at the Florida State game's Friday night too.
Yeah.
Thank God we're in the SEC and don't play Friday night games. Georgia Tech at Wake Forest. Wake Forest, 13.5-point dog. We'll see if Georgia Tech is good. Here's a top 25 matchup, though, because I don't think Illinois fell out of the top 25. USC
they did drop 14 spots, but we rarely see that happen.
They had to.
Deservedly so.
They had to.
I still can't believe that. How good Indiana was and how bad they were.
USC at Illinois. We might pick this game. This is not one I have on the list, but we might pick
it. Neither do I.
It's a top 25 matchup.
Yeah.
USC at Illinois, 6.5-point favorite. USC has been under the radar. They're winning. They're winning fairly comfortably. They're not blowing people out like they have in the past with some of those Caleb Williams teams that put 70 on teams. But it's going to be really interesting. We got a new defensive coordinator for SC, the whole deal.
They seem at least competent on that side of the ball so far.
This is a good test for them. I've got it as a maybe to pick. As a maybe. Notre Dame and Arkansas. Arkansas is a 3.5-point dog. Did I read that right?
Yeah. Notre Dame is favored by 3.5.
I was surprised by this line. Arkansas just losing to Memphis. Notre Dame with a win over Purdue, but they looked good doing it. Is this line say that people don't trust Notre Dame anymore, and maybe they shouldn't after 2 losses?
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas. Look, when I see Arkansas, I don't see a bad football team. They obviously made a calamity of errors. That fumble killed them. They were about to win the game. They're probably going to score a touchdown and win the game. They have the fumble there. The defense falls apart, and Memphis gets the win. And, man, with Notre Dame, though, your margin for error is shrinking.
It might be shot.
Have 2 losses.
Some people say it's shot.
Yeah, I mean, 3 losses, and if one of those losses is to Arkansas, it's going to be tough to
they won't make it. They will not make it. Not
with very, very tough.
Not having a conference championship game, they will not get in with 3 losses.
That's not the game.
And they don't deserve
it. If they do, correct. And if they do have a margin for error, it's not against them. It's not against Arkansas.
No, it would be closer to maybe USC. But even then, I don't think they do, man. I just don't. Notre Dame has to run the table. And even then, depending on how everything else shakes out, 2 losses against the best 2 teams on your record, I'm not quite sure it gets them there.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, they would need to win then again, and hope that other teams are good that they beat. They need USC to be good the whole season.
Then again, it's Notre Dame. So what are we doing?
It's Notre Dame, right? We talk about the Blue Bloods.
Utah State at the Fighting Pavias. Vandy's a 21.5-point favorite at home. Here's one, again, did not make the list, but Washington is 3-0. Ohio State has to go on the road. Washington is an 8.5-point dog. Any chance for Ohio State to stumble on their first true road trip of the season?
I don't see it happening just because of the talent disparity. But I think the reason why this line is even this close is just because, with the new starting quarterback and Julian Sand, them going on the road.
He hasn't hit the world on fire. He has not lit the world on fire.
No, he hasn't. He's been okay, though. Obviously, they were very conservative against Texas, and Texas plays a really good defense. This one, though, I think we're going to see a lot of usage for their big dog out there, receiver, right? I think that's get him the ball early and often.
Yeah, Washington does not have a defense that can cover that guy.
No.
I just wonder if Julian Sand goes on the road. Washington is that's
sneaky underrated environment.
Oh, that's exactly right. You talk about Oregon and you forget about Oregon and Washington. You just do. And oftentimes with reason, Washington can have some really bad years. They just can and just be terrible. But other years they can be pretty decent. You just don't know what this version of Washington is right now.
Correct.
It's just something to keep an eye on. I'm not saying I pick Ohio State, but I would do, man, like 31-24 would, to me, is not out of the question in this game. But we'll see. One that we will pick is LSU at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 1.5-point favorite at home. Look, people think LSU might be the best team in the SEC. The Clemson win is looking less and less and less and less impressive as the season goes on. We saw what Nussmeier did against Florida, given 5 extra possessions because Florida Lagway doesn't know what team to throw it to. I just wonder if Vegas is starting to say, LSU, are you really as good as we thought you were a couple weeks ago?
Correct. Yeah, the jury is still out on LSU as a whole, right? That offense has not looked good. Now, I think if you're an LSU fan, you would rather be struggling on offense than on defense because at least there's hope for the offense because you have the talent there with Nussmeier and some really talented receivers and a talented running back in Caden Durham. So you feel confident that part of the ball can come around. So I'd rather be in that spot to be obviously where they're scoring 42 points a game, but giving up, 35. But this one's fascinating because their defense is going to be tested because their young quarterback
what
has
I think
got
of this
in there
kid.
and he's looked incredible.
This kid's become my new favorite quarterback outside of John
He's so
Mateer.
fun to watch, man.
He's so fun to watch. He looks like Kyler Murray-like. I mean, I don't think he's Kyler Murray.
No, they don't make those very often. But yeah, I see what you're saying though. That is.
But he's got the wiggle. He's got the arm.
Right.
He's got the stature is a little. Don't you? Cade Klubnik. We thought what LSU's defense did to Cade Klubnik was all on LSU's defense. It's like, oh man, LSU's defense is so good. Look what they did to Cade Klubnik. Well, Troy did that, and now Syracuse has done that. So they haven't seen this kid yet. We're going to pick this game. I think from the tone of my voice, you know which direction I'm going.
I think I do.
I don't know which way you're going, though. I really don't. And so we can wait. We'll wait. We're going to pick that game. We're going to pick another SEC game. It's Auburn and A&M. Auburn, A&M's a 6.5-point favorite. Auburn they're coming off a loss that they felt like they should win. They should have won. And I don't know how real that is. Back to like the whole deception play. It's like, I don't know what else OU can do prior to a play to validate its legality than what they did, which is talk about it with the officials before the game, have the receiver in question look at the line judge and ask him if he's onside, and online where he's supposed to be. Was it still a sketchy play? Probably, but I think Auburn, don't let Oklahoma turning out with a quarterback with a broken hand, go 6 for 6 and march down the field and beat you. And don't let your quarterback hold on the ball for plus 6 seconds on every play. So I don't know if they really should have beat Oklahoma, but they think they should have. Does that hurt them or help them going into college?
That's the biggest question, right? What's their mindset? Are they bummed out and trying to get to their bye week, or are they just gonna say, "Nah, man, look, we played well enough to," and I think they did play well enough to win. They didn't win, but they did play very well. I thought they handled themselves much better than I thought they were going to. I thought they handled the environment well. Either way, they're going to face a similar environment when they go to College Station. Now, the fans won't be, chanting
They won't be cussing out the quarterback.
Yeah, correct. So I think they have the ability to win this football game. Their offense matches up, for me, against A&M's defense better than it did against Oklahoma's. So they have a chance here if they have the right mentality.
I think it's really hard. I think it's really hard to go on the road, follow that on the road, follow that loss, that first road.
That was that was a tough game, right?
And I think OU beat them up a little bit. I mean, let's just face it. Both teams got beat up.
It would have been nice for them to have a bye this week like you guys did. Because that was some big boy football out there for real.
Who did A&M play last week? Do you remember?
They didn't.
Oh, see, that's just that they're doing them dirty.
They are, and then maybe they've had some chance to kind of shore up their run defense, but hasn't been great to start the season.
I want to see if to me, the question mark is Marcel Reed. The arm talent is there. We talk about arm talent on that's your buzzword. I'm going to steal it. It's there. You can see it. But against a defense like Auburn, who I think was pretty good, I think they showed that. Does his completion percentage get north of 60?
Correct.
Like, if he has a completion percentage north of 60, they win the game.
Yeah.
If he's sub 50,
and it's tough though. The A&M receivers are no joke this year. I talked about it even before the season started. The 2 transfers they brought in, Mario Craver from Mississippi State and KJ Concepcion from North Carolina State. They kind of transformed the offense. They're become like a pass-first team, which we really haven't seen out of them.
He's got to get more efficient, though. They can be pass-first if he's more efficient.
Yeah, you can't go 17 to 37 this week.
It worked against Notre Dame because Notre Dame created some problems of their own.
You can't go 17 of 37.
That's my point. He's got to be north. Maybe 60 is too much of a jump, but he's got to be plus 55, 56.
I don't think 60 is unreasonable.
But 60 is like kind of the Mendoza line, I think.
Yeah, correct.
Nice
segue, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's
the next game we're talking about?
Indiana, Iowa.
Who's Indiana's quarterback?
Is his last name Mendoza?
Yes. And he was awesome against Illinois, throwing 5 touchdowns. Now they have to take that explosive offense on the road to face the Iowa Hawkeyes.
We're not going to pick this game. The line is 7.5. I was a home dog, 7.5 point home dog. I will take Indiana to cover and win all day long.
Same
I think
here.
Indiana's really good.
Look, they're always going to play tough. They're always going to be physical.
They'll muddy it up. They'll muddy it up and all this, but
however, they're not going to score enough points. If Indiana can get to 22, 23 points, I don't think Iowa can keep up. Yeah,
100%. Yep. You're right. If Indiana can get to 21, they'll be lucky. Iowa will be lucky to get to 10. Yeah, exactly. With you. I don't know what the next segue is. Baylor plays Oklahoma State, 20.5 point spread. It's just crazy to think Oklahoma State. Doug Meacham will be their interim head coach, former offensive coordinator at TCU.
What he's got to do is keep the players from leaving. He's got to keep players from leaving the team.
Good luck.
Correct.
Are they giving him a checkbook? And do you want those players? That's the other question, though, right? It's like, do you want how hard do you want to keep the players from leaving that went over in the Big 12 last year?
Yeah. Not all those guys were there, though.
No. Yeah, but the same group of players just got beat by Tulsa. Like, it's not old school. You got to remember, right, Kevin? It's not old school football where it's like, okay, we got to keep this core and then we'll bring in a class, and we'll bring in a class, and then in 3 years we're gonna, but the culture will stay the same, and we'll have the lead. No, 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 no. Oklahoma State has to literally be thinking we're going to have 50 new players next year, and they need to come from the portal.
Correct. You just don't want to lose those guys now.
Which ones, Kevin?
The portal's open, though. I'm just saying, listen, as bad as they've been, they have players that they don't want to lose.
Okay. You're right. Identify the 7 players you don't want to lose and don't lose them. But outside of that.
Yeah, exactly. But there's some guys, I'm telling you, they're going to be guys that they're working very hard to keep.
Arizona at Iowa State. Iowa State's a 6.5-point favorite. Oregon at Penn State. We are definitely picking this game.
Huge.
It is a night game. Happy Valley, a whiteout. Penn State's a 3.5-point favorite. Oregon having to make the cross-country trip. It'll be an early game for them, but still a night game. I love this matchup. We've been waiting to see these two teams play a good team because we think they're both good, but they haven't played anybody yet through 4 games or 3 games. I'm not sure how many is on each of their schedules. It's a big boy. It's a big boy Big Ten football, a rematch of the Big Ten championship last year. You love Oregon's quarterback. I like Penn State's running backs and defense.
Oh,
Who has the edge? Who has the edge?
I like the running backs more than I like even Dante Moore, as good as he's been. I love those running backs. I want to see how he handles the environment. He's a talented kid. He's never played anything like this.
Nope.
A night game, whiteout in Happy Valley. It's one of the best environments in all of college football. It's going to be raucous. I'm curious to see what their game plan is going to be. But I do imagine his legs are going to be a big part of it.
I think Penn State's defense and running backs will be too much. Will they be enough to cover the 3.5? We will decide. Hey, dude, we go from that heavyweight matchup to just, I don't know, Alabama, Georgia. Alabama, Georgia. Georgia's a 2.5-point favorite at home, which tells you it's a pick-em. Nobody knows what to think about this game. We know Bama struggled against Florida State. Since then, including a big win against Wisconsin, they looked more like it. Ryan Williams has been more Ryan Williams-like, at least what we've come to expect from him. Georgia's Georgia, beating Tennessee in overtime. The defense not as dominant as we expect from Georgia, but maybe they found something with Gunnar Helm. Where do you even start with this matchup?
Well,
Gunnar Helm. What did I say? Not Gunnar Helm. Not Gunnar Helm. That's your old tight end. Gunnar Stockton. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Texas fans know. Texas fans know that I
shout out to Gunnar Helm, by the way, though. Okay, Alabama, more pressure on them because they have a head coach that's still very much in the prove-it stage. Right? Struggled last year, started off with the loss to Florida State. They have looked better the last 2 weeks, but that doesn't really matter. Nobody cares about that.
Nobody cares about beating Wisconsin. Nobody cares about beating Wisconsin.
Gotta get this one. You got to get this one if you're Kalen DeBoer. But with Georgia, man, from what I've seen so far this year, while the defense struggled a little bit against Tennessee, Tennessee's offense can do that to you. They do offensively look a lot better than they've looked in the past 2 years, really since Stetson Bennett was there. They look physical and they look eager. And that's the thing about Georgia, right? They've had so much success. The past few years, they played up and down to their level of competition, right? The Georgia that played Texas and Austin, if they play like that every week, they would have won the national championship last year.
Going away. They'd have won it going away.
Yes, but you didn't get that kind of effort from them. And in this conference, if you don't bring it every week, they go to Ole Miss. That's how you get beat. Even, with a backup quarter, that's how you get beat. This year, they do seem a little bit more focused, and I think they look very physical this year. The Tennessee game was a struggle, but I think Tennessee is a really good football team. So I'm curious to see the battle in the trenches here. The Alabama defense has not looked as good as we're used to seeing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see what Georgia's game plan is like and how physical they're going to be if they're going to try to establish the run game like classic Georgia football is, especially knowing that they can trust their quarterback. If they can set up a play-action game, then Alabama's in a lot of trouble.
Okay. We'll pick it. BYU quietly slipping in the top 25s at Colorado. Colorado's 6.5 point home dog. Prime is facing the reality of not having Shadur and Travis Hunter, and it's going about like we expected. We'll see. He's got some time to bounce back. Kentucky, rounding out the SEC, Kentucky at South Carolina. South Carolina is a 6.5 point favorite this week. We would expect to see South Carolina win, but these two teams are spastic. They are
Correct.
like bipolar. They just
South Carolina. It's not.
you never know what you're gonna. When these two teams play each other, you have no idea what you're gonna get.
Yeah, not been a great start for South Carolina. Not what we expected. They need to get this one. They really need to get this one. Real quick, you may have mentioned it and I didn't hear you, but Mississippi State and Tennessee, you mentioned that one?
Oh, did I miss that? Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Is it at Tennessee or at Mississippi State?
Oh, it is in Starkville. Starkville.
Okay. Starkville.
Yeah. And Tennessee is a 7.5 point favorite in Starkville. Do the Bulldogs have any sort of chance of upsetting the Volunteers?
Yes. They won't.
The offense is in this game. I mean, they're running the same system.
Yeah. No, there's a chance.
Run the same system. So
I don't know
really
how
curious to see how that's cool. I'm just curious to see how Mississippi State can match up. What can they do defensively? Can they slow down Tennessee at all? Or they just say, hey man, we're gonna have to keep up with them. I just know I expect to see a lot of bombs dropped in Davis Wade Stadium.
What's Tennessee ranked?
15. At least on ESPN, the poll, whatever poll ESPN uses.
Okay. We are picking Bama. These are locks. Bama, Georgia, Auburn A&M, LSU, Ole Miss, Oregon, Penn State. Locked. Those are
Good.
4 picks.
Yeah, sure.
But we got one more. We have one more. I'll let you pick. I'm just going to read real quick. USC, Illinois, Notre Dame, Arkansas, Tennessee or Mississippi. Now that I knew this, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Ohio State, Washington.
We'll do Ohio State, Washington.
Okay. Go to the Big Ten. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. You are 5-14-1 on the year. I am 9-10-1 on the year. You get the first pick. Bama, Georgia.
I'm gonna go UGA on this one.
UGA to cover the 2.5.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be the more physical team. I like the way the offensive line has looked so far. I think they're gonna control the line of scrimmage, set up the run game, use the run game to set up the play action, and they get the job done.
I agree. I think Georgia covers the 2.5. I think they're one of the biggest factors. Simply, they're at home. I mean, just being at home.
They just seem to be on a mission this year. I like the mindset, the mentality of the team. Kirby seems to have them locked in.
Yeah, and last year, if Georgia had, because Alabama got out to such a big lead, but I feel like if they'd have played 10 more minutes, Georgia was going to win that game.
Correct.
And
of course, Ryan Williams just went absolutely nuclear on that one play.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go as nuclear against Georgia. I think they're ready for him this year, and I don't know. I'm with you.
I want to see how Jeremy Bernard looks. He's been really good for them at receiver for Alabama as well. I think he actually has better stats than Ryan Williams does so far. So right now, it's hard to double cover either one of them. So we'll see how they defend.
Auburn A&M, 6.5 points A&M. I'm going to take A&M to cover. I just think Auburn got beat up. I think they're in a weird headspace after the type of game they played against Oklahoma. I think Jackson Arnold on the road 2 weeks in a row is a lot to ask from a kid that I still think struggles with decision-making and, presence, as we saw in his pocket presence. I'm going to take A&M to cover the 6.5.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go Auburn to cover.
Whoa.
I still think A&M wins the game, but I'm going to go Auburn to cover.
You like 27-21. You like 27-21.
Correct. Yeah, I think Auburn will compete. I think Arnold will be better after this. Just, he's a kid that's still very, very young. I don't care that he's a third-year guy. He's still young when it comes to game experience. I think he'll learn from what happened in Norman and say, hey, listen, it can't get worse from a crowd environment deal than what I have to deal with last week. I think he's going to focus more on getting the ball to Cam Coleman. And I think they keep it close. And their running game.
Any game plan that doesn't involve force feeding Cam Coleman is a stupid game plan.
He's so talented.
LSU at Ole Miss, coach's daughter dating the LSU linebacker. Fascinating storyline to this. I like Chambliss. They're a 1.5 point favorite for a reason. I'm taking Ole Miss.
I'm taking them as well. Unless, maybe LSU's offense just all of a sudden wakes up. And it could happen, right? With Nussmeier there and with those weapons they have at receiver and Caden Durham. But, man, Ole Miss is going to score. And can you keep up with them? Even if they just scored, 27 points, can you do that if you're LSU on the road?
Look, a loss to Ole Miss at Ole Miss does not hurt LSU. I mean, we've got to think. We have to. And I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again. This is we're more in an NFL mentality than we've ever been, and that you're going to have losses.
Yes.
And so
here's who LSU has. Let me just tell you real quick. Just talk about the margin of error. We've used that term a lot today.
I think they've got margin of error. Yeah, they can beat them.
They've got South Carolina at Vanderbilt.
Tougher.
Texas
if they don't get their offense figured out, both Vandy and A&M for sure.
Yeah, now they do get A&M in Baton Rouge. Now, but then they got to go to Alabama. They play Arkansas at home, Western Kentucky, and then they finish the season in Norman.
Yeah.
It's Oklahoma, so.
Look, I think they've got, as of right now, because of the way their offense is performing, I think they have a better chance against Alabama than they do OU. Because I think OU's defense is really good. And if they continue to struggle up until that point, they won't have figured it out by then, is my point. So we'll see. But, okay, so we both have Ole Miss. Oregon, Penn State. I just like the defense and the running backs. I'm going to stick with that. Home game, wide out, defense, running backs. Drew Aller, he is who we think he is. He might go 12 for 16 in this game. And I think that's enough to beat Oregon because this isn't Dylan Gabriel. It isn't Bo Nix from 2 years ago. They're breaking in this quarterback. I think he's uber talented. You love him. I just like what I see on Penn State side.
Well, I hate to keep agreeing with you, but I've got Penn State as well. Again, run the football. You can run it.
I don't think you'll agree with me on the next pick. So I'm going to pick it and get it out of the way. I like Washington State to cover. I'm not saying they win, but I like Washington State to cover. Not Washington State, Washington. Yeah. I don't know why I said Washington, because Ohio State. Washington to cover.
I like the Buckeyes here.
Yeah. All right.
Too much of a talent disparity. They're really good on defense. I think they kind of suffocate Washington's offense, and they do just enough to get the win and the cover, and too much Jeremiah Smith.
All right, Kevin, it's been an eventful show. Obviously, the John Mateer news, rocking Sooner Nation. But other than that, we're going to be okay. You think Michael Hawkins sucks. I think he gives us a chance to win. I think that's what we've summed up from this conversation. That's fine. Oklahoma fan can take that information, do with it what they want.
There you go, making up stuff.
Oklahoma fan will take that information and do with it what they want. However, I gotta close with this. I love the Manning cast, right?
Yeah.
Love the Manning cast. I think it's great. Watching those two interact with each other. They've been there. Eli Manning he's understated, but he just says funny things. And I think he loves the fact that he got 2 Super Bowls and he knows he's the less talented player, but he is not ashamed of it. It is a great dynamic.
Not just 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowls over Tom Brady.
Over Tom Brady, 100%. They had Daniel Jones on from the Colts last night. That is the worst guest I've ever seen on any show ever. It was awful. I have never, ever seen a professional athlete with so little personality. He seems like a very nice guy. And and he's having a second life in Indianapolis, and maybe he's going to end up being a great quarterback. All the things, whatever. Kevin, I can't begin to name a worse personality in sports than Daniel Jones. I don't even know who to compare it to. It was excruciating. I couldn't turn away. It was so bad.
It was so bad you had to keep watching.
I just kept watching going, surely he's going to say something about something that means anything about anything. And, Peyton would make a joke and he'd be like, eh? Like with this look on his face, like, eh? And then Eli Manning would say something. He'd be like, yeah? And
oh, wow.
Oh, I don't even, can you think of like an athlete with a really just, the personality is so bad, but, at least they're an athlete. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. It was bad. It was
too bad, man. It's a good opportunity for Danny Dimes there.
Well, now he's not Danny Dimes anymore.
What is he?
This was.
Oh,
good. Yeah. Have you heard what he is now?
Is he Indiana Jones?
He's Indianapolis Jones. He's Indianapolis Jones. Again, when the nickname is about 10,000 times more interesting than the actual person, it's a problem.
Yeah. There is a quarterback at Duke, man. You can't expect too much.
Dude, he's an NFL. Okay, look, we talk about this all the time. We always talk about Hard Knocks, not because it's some great show or anything, but in the desert of summer, it's always fun to watch the first 1 or 2 episodes of Hard Knocks.
For sure.
Okay, when they have a quarterback on, those guys are just cool. There's something about quarterbacks in the NFL, regardless of how good they end up being, they have a dynamicism about them. Okay. Yeah. I even remember Ryan Tannehill might have been one of the dumbest guys ever. All right. They were with Miami one year. He couldn't even name the teams in his own division. Okay. He was still captivating as like an athlete. Like you could see his confidence and his, does that make sense? Like
bravado,
he's an idiot.
Whatever you want to call it.
Bravado. You could sense it. And you're like, you know what? There's a reason this guy's a quarterback in the NFL. It's not because he knows the division names, but because he thinks he's the better athlete when he steps on the field. I don't know what to think of Daniel Jones. I have no idea. He's one of the most bored. Whatever. There you go.
Think about this. What do you got? He was a quarterback of the Giants too.
I have no idea how he survived New York. I just can't even. I have no idea.
He probably was so oblivious to everything that's probably how he made it.
I
don't watch TV. I don't read the newspaper.
I wish I could live my life in the same level of oblivion that he has to, because I don't. I bet his wife or girlfriend's a smoke show too. Like, you know what I mean? The dude's making millions. He's quarterback in the NFL. I bet his wife or girlfriend. I'm gonna look her up. I will. Hold on. I know you like it when I go down this rabbit hole because it nearly always gets me in trouble. Let's see, and we're gonna do girlfriend. Yeah, let's do girlfriend. Let's just get a visual here. Ella, she's a former Duke lacrosse player and athlete. Actually, she looks like the girl next door. She looks like exactly who is probably with Daniel Jones.
Good for him.
So very attractive.
Clearly, that's what he needs.
Very attractive.
Good for him.
I can't even imagine the conversations they have over Hamburger Helper. I can't even imagine it. I'm not saying I'm the most interesting person in the world, Kevin, but I can hold a conversation. That's all. Get me on the Manicast. Originally?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. Where is Daniel Jones from?
Is he from Charlotte?
Charlotte, North Carolina. Well done, Kevin. Well done. The most boring professional athlete in the history of media. Nobody's making him an influencer anytime soon. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Look, and I think guys are weird. Like Jalen Hurts is a real weirdo, but he has a personality. You know what you're getting from him. You know?
And his that he's just like too cool for school, just
way too cool for school.
Yeah.
That's what I thought Nico was going for when he was at Tennessee. Was the Jalen Hurts, too cool for school. Nothing was going to perturb me. I won't get, nothing ruffles me. That didn't work out too well for him. What else? Do you got any good Daniel Jones stories or anything else you want to end on, Kevin?
No,
You're not
Daniel Jones stuff. But yeah, really sucks for Mateer again. So best wishes to him during his recovery. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can get back for that Texas game. It'll be fun if we can.
You know what, dude? I'm gonna throw it out in the universe. I'm gonna manifest it. Mateer's gonna be back. Mateer's gonna be back. And if he's not back, Hawkins, I'm riding with you, bro. I love you. Let's go. Hey, everybody out there, Oklahoma fans, keep the faith, get those spirits up. It's gonna be fine. We're Oklahoma. They're not. Boomer.
Hook 'em.